Oh my gosh, guys. Hello and welcome to Relax Mal. This is going to be episode number 100. This is the 100th time I've been recording a show for you guys. And I'm happy. I'm excited. And I really don't have much really to talk to you, but we're going to be doing something. Anyhow, we're going to have episode 100 today on Relaxed Mal. Hello and welcome to Relaxed Mal, podcast that helps men change their relationship with themselves. I am your host, Brian, and I am a men's life and mindset coach who is here to help you understand that you don't have to suffer at your own expense. You can live your dream, and I encourage you to set, then pursue your goals. So join me as I change the mindset and attitudes of men so that they can be the leaders of their families and their destinies. Hey man, hello and welcome to Relax Mal. All right, so this is episode number 100. Wanted to just kind of reflect a bit this week on what all I have actually learned in the past 100 episodes. There are several things I've learned, and I've actually got 21 of them laid out. So we got a blackjack today. But it was a time to review, and I wanted to look back, and I was trying to think of something, a little different to actually do for the 100th episode, because this is actually a big milestone. Very few podcasts actually make it to episode 100. I think they're saying, of course, all internet statistics are made up on the fly. I think they said like 98% of all internet statistics are made up just at that moment. Well, I'm thinking somewhere along the line, it's a really high number, like 80% of all podcasts don't even make it past episode 7. And then the next big drop off is the 10th episode. Some will make it past 7 and they'll carry on 3 more episodes and then they fade out. Then you have, another big one is usually around episode 20. And then it just it gets further and further and further along. Episode 100. Been doing this. We're coming up on, here in another 4 weeks. We're going to be hitting our 52nd episode, and been doing this for just a little over, almost 2 years. The site itself, if you've not ever gone to it, this Relax Mal's actually been going on since 2017. So we're coming up on 4 years of the website and coming up on 2 years for the podcast itself. So I wanted to just I was trying to think of something fun, something different to do. And honestly, I've realized if anything through all this and through all the other social media stuff that I do, I'm a really actually a bit of a boring guy. But I wanted to just kind of review with what I've actually learned through doing 100 episodes so far on the podcast. Now, the first one is I need to put myself out there more. I have hardly done any podcasts on other people's shows. I've done had a few guests on mine, but I've only done 3-4 episodes where I've been on other people's podcasts. I need to put myself out there more to really help build the base. Would help me to be able to go out and talk to other people. And there's an issue as to why I haven't done that yet. Because one, I have hit the 100th episode, and I know that there are a lot of big names out there that I really would love to be on their show. I know that I've hit that limit to where if I wanted to start bringing in some of the little bit bigger names, they see that number of 100 listeners or 100 episodes out there. And that allows them to know that, hey, I'm going to be here for a lot longer than just a fly by night. I'm going to do 7 episodes. So I'm actually going to be starting to try to bring in a little more higher caliber guests from time to time. See if maybe I can get about 12 of them and space them out throughout the year. But that doesn't fix the issue of I need to get myself out there and to try to find people who would have me on their show. Which means I've really actually got to do something that I talk about a lot. I've got to step out of my comfort zone and go to people and go, hey, I would like to be on your show. Would you mind if I was on your show and I don't know, maybe sit there and do a show swap where I'm on their show for an episode, then they come on my show, or I come on their show, or vice versa. But anyhow, I need to put myself out there more. I need to start doing the ask. And that's one reason. One thing else that I really need to learn is to do the ask. Ask people a lot more. I have a big issue about asking. That's all there is to it. I have a problem asking, hey, would you like to come over onto my show? Would you like to have me on your show? Those type of things. But also just in real life, there's so many times that I could actually ask people for something and I don't. And it's really it's frustrating. I am trying to get this business going and to be able to start making money. I actually have to start asking people, hey, would you like for me to coach you? Hey, would you like to join the Brotherhood of Men? And if you would like to, yes, on either one of those guys, you can go to relaxedmale.com. Over at the top, you will see Work with Brian. There you can actually fill out a form, and we'll schedule a time to sit down and actually talk face to face. Well, not face to face, but on the phone, probably through Zoom or something like that, where I can actually see you and see your reactions and things like that. Need to start doing that a lot more. And I've got some things that are actually happening on my end that I'm really excited about. So there should be a huge change of what I'm talking about, how I'm addressing our topics from now to at the end to this time 1 year from now. This should be a huge change, and it could be a new change to titles and things like that. Not going to change the name of the podcast itself, but titles as to what I can actually use. So a lot of good stuff. I've actually started trying to put myself out there, but I need to do it a heck of a lot more. Another thing that I actually learned is we really need to let our boys be a heck of a lot more dangerous, doing more dangerous stuff in their life. We spend so much time actually trying to protect our boys, trying to protect our children. And we need to let them do more dangerous things. Go see who can jump the farthest on the neighborhood's really incredibly scary, sketchy bicycle ramp that some kid has piecemealed together. Let them climb that tree. Let them skateboard on the steps. Let them do those things where they are in a group and they're challenging each other, trying to see, can I one up each other? He's able to jump 2 foot. Let's see if I can pop a kick flip and go 3 foot over, see what they can do. These are things that parents were like, oh my gosh, they need to wear a helmet. No, don't require them to wear a helmet. Quit that. When they want to ride the bike around the block, let them ride the bike around the block. That is an element of danger that they can go and stretch their confidence on them. When we have our kids wrapped up in bubble wrap and got 3 different sizes helmets on top of helmets on top of helmets, and we've got knee pads on the inside of their clothes, and then we put a bigger knee pad on the outside of their clothes, and we got shoulder pads on them and thigh guards and shin guards and steel-toed shoes, and got a full face mask on them. It's not doing them any good. It's to that same line as Mike Rowe's safety third. No, you're more apt to be careful if your life is actually on the line. But the boys themselves in particular, need to do dangerous stuff. And that sense of danger, that sense of adventure that goes in with taking something that's a risk is paramount for men to be successful. So even men, as they get older, we still have that sense of adventure. I don't know. Let's try. But we start to go, well, what if I get hurt? Then I won't be able to go to work. And if I don't go to work, then I can't pay the bills. And if I can't pay the bills, then we're going to be homeless. And if we're homeless, then my wife's going to think I'm a loser and she's going to leave me. And if you really took the time and sat down and talked to your wife, I bet you if you were taking a risk on something and there was a chance that it fails, she would probably even say, you know what, I would still be willing to live in a cardboard box as long as you took that chance, as long as you tried living for once. And so many times we want to play it safe. We want to play it small. And all our inner little boy wants to do is just be a wild man for a day, dadgummit. Go out and try camping for a week and pitch yourself, and maybe even have a group of friends and pitch yourselves against, Mother Nature herself. Can you survive against Mother Nature? You can, if you plan it right. If you just go out there in the middle of winter with just a t-shirt and pants and think you're going to survive, Mother Nature is going to teach you a thing or two about how brutal nature really is. So you can do it. You can go out there. You can do what you want. You can embrace that danger, that adventure that your body and your soul and your mind is craving. And so let our boys be dangerous. And as those little boys stay dangerous and they become more grown up, they were still willing to take more risks and go on adventures. And they're probably even going to be able to start businesses a lot more readily. They're not going to be him and Han and wishing that they could do something. Instead, they're going to go, well, let's try it. Let's see what happens. And they're going to have that pioneering spirit that actually gets them out. And the third thing I realized and learned through the 100 episodes of the podcast is that audio gets better when you upgrade. I don't know if you actually heard, if you listen to episode 1, 2, 3, up till I forget exactly, but there's a certain level where my audio, it was all right. Wasn't the best. Definitely wasn't the worst. I wasn't talking on talk shoe radio or anything, but it was okay. Barely okay, because I didn't even have a microphone or anything like that to be able to record my audio. So what was I doing? I was using my iPhone. I was just taking my iPhone, holding it up to my mouth, and I was recording my audio and then airdropping it over onto the computer and get it, and then doing the editing. And you can still hear how it sounds through on the intro of this podcast, which is something I need to actually go through and change, because the message and the spirit of what Relaxed Male has shifted greatly from where it was at the beginning, which was supposed to be about men connecting with their boys. And has morphed. It's changed. It's kind of around, more around stopping nice guys from being nice. Let's see if I can actually take the nice guy that is in a lot of men these days and kick that nice guy to the curb. Tell him, we don't need you. We don't want you. Society doesn't care for you. The women in our lives do not want the nice guy. All right. They don't want the jerk either. Because a jerk is nothing more than a pissed off nice guy. They want a man. They want somebody, a real man, somebody who will take charge, get stuff done, and do what they're saying they're going to do, and have the ability to say, no, I'm not doing that. I've got other things I have to do right now. To be able to do that, those are things that are important in a man's life. And one thing that I ended up doing is I ended up going off and picking up a PodTrack 4. I thought I went off on a tangent, and I sort of did. I ended up picking up a Zoom PodTrack P4. And I had a microphone from previous podcast endeavors that I'd done. And so I was able to put everything together. And now I've got better sound. Is it still, studio quality? No, it's not. You may hear the aquarium in the background. I don't think you can. But if you ever hear a weird bubbly splashy sound in here, that's the aquarium that that we have in the living room here where I do my recording. So the audio is slowly getting better. I realize that you have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in what you're wanting to improve in. That's one reason, again, I'm fixing to have some big changes coming up this next year, because I took the time to actually invest in myself. I took some of my future and invested it into the now, so that I can actually get out and have a chance to really make an impact on your lives and the rest of the men in the world, so that they can actually become the great men that the world is needing. Another thing that I learned is that my son is a heck of a lot more popular than I ever was whenever I was growing up. Back in, I believe it was episode number 34. Don't quote me on that one. Hold up. Let me check. Wow, I'm so wrong. It was actually episode number 59 that Jaden was in. And Jaden is my son. I had a conversation with him just to kind of introduce him to the Relaxed Male crowd. And he went off and he told his friends, hey, I was on a podcast and here's where it's at and here's where you can listen to it at. And I mean, I had a very visible whack, big spike. Now, I don't think many of the guys who listened to that, his friends who listened to that particular episode stayed and listened to all the following episodes. But, still, he's been on the show, and it's probably the most popular episode that I have on the show itself. So yeah, my son is more popular than me, which I actually, in all reality, I knew, because whenever he's home, there was always somebody knocking on the door. Hey, is Jaden here? 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 No, Jaden's not here. Jaden's been missing for the past 3 hours. So if you happen to see him, tell him he needs to come home. And so he was always out. He always had these friends. He's a very extroverted. He's a very extroverted introvert. He has to be around people, but at the same time, he likes to be by himself from time to time. Or he's a very introverted extrovert. Maybe that's what it is. But anyhow, it was good to have him on. I need to get my daughter on too. And sometime I'll be able to trap her here at the house and sit down and do a conversation with him. I also learned that I have a crap ton that I still need to learn. I knew that I don't know enough, and I know that there's a lot of stuff that I don't know, but I didn't realize how the grand extent of what my ignorance of life actually is. The more I look at this, the more things I learn, I'm like, oh, I didn't, how does that work? And so I would go down and start going down a particular, rabbit hole, and somewhere in that rabbit hole, well, how does that work? And start going down that. And eventually I find myself doing something that I would have never thought I was looking at. But then it was still more information about stuff that I could actually apply. And it's really fun. It's really great. And I enjoy taking the time to be able to learn stuff that I can help to turn around and help show y'all. There's going to be taking a coaching certification program, and that certification program isn't because I don't know how to coach. It's so that I have new tools that I can apply to my certification program. It is absolutely amazing that I'm able to actually get to do this, and that's going to be starting here real soon. Another thing I found that was really neat is I've always liked the movie Forrest Gump. I loved how the serendipity of his life would come in, and he always wound up landing on his feet. Well, I come to find out there was a kind of a real life Forrest Gump back in the early colonial days. His name was Timothy Dexter, and he had barely a second grade education, couldn't write well at all. Yet he wrote a book that people had a very hard time being able to read because he wrote phonetically. And so the words were not correct. And it was just, you had to look at it and go, I don't understand what he's saying. But he was undereducated and ignorant as the day was long. But yet somehow, because he wanted to become wealthy so bad, he was able to do so. He actually was able to prove that through his actions that the laws of attraction actually come about. He actually, anything that his neighbors who absolutely hated him about would suggest him, take bed warmers, the things the big giant, pans that you put hot coals in and then clamp it up and stick it between the sheets to warm your bed up before you jump into New England winter night, which didn't have much insulation, and we get really freaking cold. Well, he sent a whole bunch of those down to the Caribbean, and because on a suggestion of his quote unquote friends or frenemies or however you want to look at them. And guess what? Because he believed in that they would sell, they sold. They weren't being sold as bed warmers. They were being sold as ladles for molasses. He did that again with going around and collecting all the stray cats in the town that he lived in, sent them down to the Caribbean thinking, oh, they ain't going to need that. Well, the cats arrived in the middle of a rat infestation. He sent coal to the richest coal district of England on a suggestion. And guess what? He sold them all because the guy and sold it at a premium because before the ships arrived, the workers at the coal mines went on strike. So, I mean, he just always landed on his feet. So it was really cool to learn that there was actually a real life Forrest Gump running around in history. His name wasn't Forrest Gump. It was actually Timothy Dexter. Something else that I actually learned was that I am learning more and more about how men actually talk and how men communicate with each other. And you're going, well, dude, you're a guy. You should already know that. No, I was a nice guy. Nice guys communicate in passive forms. They communicate in aggressive forms. They communicate in passive aggressive forms. And I was very good at that passive aggressive communication. I was very good at the passive communication, and I would hem and haw and talk around in circles so that I didn't actually say what I was wanting to say, so that people would try to read my mind and answer what they can get, so I could get what I wanted without actually having to ask them. Instead, men talk to each other in a very direct way. Hey, I need you to go get the envelope out of your car. All right. Instead of going, hey, you know, that thing in the car, would you mind, you know, I'm really needing this, you know, and just not saying directly, not speaking directly, speaking assertively. And I still struggle with it. There's still times that I'll be talking to somebody, and I will realize that I am just meandering my words around, not saying directly what it is. And I'll have to cut myself short and go, let me try that again. And say it in a direct fashion. And it's, first off, you save so much time just talking directly, guys. You can get so much more done if you're willing to just say, hey, you go there, pick this up, take it there. You know, or hey, you, I need you over here in 15 minutes. No, I need you now. Get here, kick it, start, you know, move your tail. So when you do that type of stuff, you actually get people to respond to you better. Now, you're not being an aggressive. It's like, I said, get over here and I need you to, you know, and being in an aggressive form is nothing more than a nice guy with a chip on his shoulder. So you don't want to be an aggressive bully. That is not an effective form of communication. An effective form of communication is speaking in an assertive manner, and so an assertive style, and so that you actually say what needs to be done to get it done. And I'm learning that I didn't do that much. But I am getting better at that with each new episode, and as I continue to interact and work with other men. It's actually a lot cooler and a lot better than what I ever thought possible. Another thing I realized was that I knew I was a nice guy from way before. I always prided myself. I was a nice guy, though nice guys always finish last. And then I realized, hey, you know what? Nice guys really don't finish last. Nice guys are kind of jerks. And then I found out, and I went off and read Robert Glover's No More Mr. Nice Guy, a proven plan for getting what you want in love, sex, and life. Read that, and I was like, holy freaking crap. I was not just a nice guy. I was a freaking huge nice guy. I was probably the nicest of the nice guys. It was terrible. And as I read through there, I mean, I saw so many resemblances, and I identified so much, especially the one where he talks about how nice guys often develop a resentment from the lack of sex that they have with their wife. And I was that guy. I was walking around for a good almost 10 years of my marriage where I was just, and she just trying to figure out why she didn't want to sleep with me. Why does she not want to do this? why does she avoid everything else, but she doesn't want to sleep with me? I tried, I do the laundry. I'll do anything that she asks, and I'll bring home, I'm gone sacrificing myself for, days at a time and still not getting any. Why? Well, come to find out, it's because I'm a freaking nice guy. Women don't want to sleep with a nice guy. A nice guy is a person who sucks the energy, sexual energy, you name it. They suck all that energy out of their mate, out of their wife and their spouse. And it's not a return on investment. While I was sitting there thinking that it was her fault, to come to find out it was me. It was my fault. Yeah, I still am struggling with some of the lasting mantras that I had created as to justify why my wife didn't want to have sex with me. I still fight with those, but it was it was just, it's not a good thing. And this is one reason why I am on such a crusade to try to get rid of the nice guy, because you guys who are struggling with that same type of event where you think, where you're one of those who sits there and thinks that, laughed at the joke that you probably heard before, that, wedding cake lowers a woman's libido by 98%, that type of joke. That was brought on because there are a bunch of nice guys out there where you think you have more sex. You find out you have more sex before you're married than after you're married. Well, that's because after you're married, you're trying to be the freaking nice guy, and you're not feeding her the masculine energy that she actually needs. You're just being this nice guy, and you're being reserved, and you're playing it safe. So maybe she'll throw you some booty crumbs later on down the road. It doesn't work. It ends up with her being holed up, not finding you attractive, trying to find ways in her world to make herself as unattractive as possible. And then you are getting mad because she's still not, even though she's putting on pounds, you're still looking at her going, well, I love you still. Well, you're not helping matters any, dude. You've got to change how you are. You've got to get rid of that nice guy and start letting her have her time to work on herself. And that what brings me to the next thing that I actually learned is that my wife actually doesn't want to be fixed. If she decides she finds something that she wants to change, it has to be her idea. Your idea is not going to work. So if you see that she's packing on a few extra pounds and you go up to her and go, hey, honey, hey, I'm fixing to start going to the gym. You ought to come along with me, and whack her on the butt. Yeah, she's going to take that gym membership and she's going to shove it up a very small hole that is very tender. And you don't want that. There is a phrase called listening with your elbow. And that's where you're like listening to a podcast or something. You hear something that you think would apply to your wife, and you're like elbowing her in the side going, hey, yeah, did you hear that? Did you hear that? That's listening with your elbow. Stop doing that, guys. Stop it. All right. Take the lessons that you learned from that and figure out how you can apply that to your life. All right. Thinking that your wife needs to change something in her life is going to end in failure. It's going to end in frustration. If you actually want her to change something, change yourself. Show her the benefit of what you're wanting to do. You sitting there being a fat, lard gorilla on the couch watching a football game or basketball game and then going, yeah, I wish you had a tight toned body again there, sweetheart. Well, she really kind of wishes that you had a nice fit body yourself. So get up off your duff, turn the damn television off, go to the gym, start working on the muscles, get yourself into shape, get her to where she sees you and goes, oh, he's manning up a little bit. He's looking a little nicer. He's looking a little more in shape. He's getting a little handsomer looking. He's getting handsomer looking. He may leave me. I better get my butt into gear. I need to start doing stuff. And your actions will lead her into achieving the results that you would actually kind of like for her to do. And you're doing it by leading. You're taking the initiative. You're taking the time. You're taking what needs to be done and actually take those and show folks how it's supposed to be. And you're showing them the benefits. And that's the big thing. Most of us guys do not do. We're like, yeah, well, allow you to lose some weight. Well, that's a very minuscule part of the benefits. The other benefits of it being that she has more energy, that she feels better about herself. She can walk by a mirror with no clothes on and be okay with looking at herself like that. So you poke your head in the bathroom while she's taking a shower. Instead of her covering up, she may actually kind of laugh and open the curtain and invite you into the shower with her. There are a lot of those things that can happen if you take the time to start improving yourself, making yourself become the manly guy. And how do you do that? You do that by following the 4 pillars of the relaxed male, working on your mind, your body, your soul, and building your community. Also learn that marriage is far from perfect. Yeah, I've been married for 25 years. Doesn't mean that it was a nice, smooth road that just went on for miles. No, there was lots of twists and curves and lots of drops. And there was times where things got really shaky and we dodged a bullet here or there. And there was a couple times where the marriage was a little bit on the iffy side. And There's times where we had talked about how one side wasn't happy and I wouldn't talk about that. And the reason why that marriage was far from perfect and the reason that we were having problems was because of my nice guyness. I couldn't handle emotionally the rocking of the boat. I could have stated, hey, I see this as a problem. But instead of stating that, I don't want to rock the boat. I'm not going to make her mad. What if she gets mad at me? She leaves. Well, that's going to be bad. Well, dude, if she's not happy, she's going to leave also. Marriage is far from perfect. But one of the things about marriage is that you're going to have conflict in your marriage. You're going to have those discussions, those hard questions, the ones where, yeah, she's going to get a little pissy about it. And you're going to have to be able to be there and be okay with her getting mad. Yeah, it feels weird. It feels awkward. It feels messy, and it messes with my guts something fierce. I can't stand it when my wife is upset. And I immediately turn to little boy mode and want to go over there and try to help her to not be upset and try to calm her down instead of just letting her be upset and go through her set of emotions. Marriage is not perfect. You're not going to have sunshine and rainbows and unicorn farts all the time. Yeah, there's a lot of beautiful, wonderful times because the next thing I learned was that marriage is all worth the effort. Is it perfect? Will this marriage last for the next 30 years? I don't know. It'd be really cool if it did. But you're not going to find out unless you actually put in the effort. And so you have to decide, is that marriage actually worth it? Well, I think my 25 years so far has been pretty worth it. So you have to keep doing things. You have to keep trying to improve. And it's not that you're trying to improve your wife. It is you trying to improve yourself. Your wife will improve herself when she, again, sees that you are doing the work that you need to do. Also, I've noticed that I have a crap ton of work to do. Not just on myself, but I have a lot of work to do on the business. There's so many things that I have done, haven't done. I have let my schedule just go to complete and total crap. Writing, as you probably have noticed, blog wise has just flown out the window. I've been needing to get a tree cut up and stuff for the past month and a half, and I have yet to actually get all that cut up and put away so that it's ready to go. What I'm going to have to do is I'm just going to eventually have to say, no, I can't do crap until I get X done, and then get this done, and get this done, and get this done. Do I really need to have all 7 days to be able to get stuff done? Honestly, right now, it feels like it, because once I get the tree done and I start getting the certification taken care of, and I'm able to maybe start bringing in a little bit more money, then guess what? I have got to be able to have some time to be able to put up a fence. And from the fence, there's something else I need to get the house worked on. And there's a lot of things I've let go on the house. I mean, I haven't touched the yard in a month and a half because I've been doing other stuff. It's always something. Boom, boom. We got to go here, got to go here, got to go here, got to go here. And I'm going to have to actually end up saying, no, I can't. I'm staying. There's a lot of work that I have to do. I've got work on the website that I have been wanting to do for the past 6 months, and I have yet to touch it. Why? Because again, I don't have the time. Now I can make more time, and I will be making more time. I've got to do some technology purchases to actually start getting more time available down the road. And so once that happens, then things might start leveling out and I will have more time to get other stuff done. But all in all, I have got a lot of work to do and I am not getting it done. And so this is something that I need to be working on myself. And I have, I've made progress, but I've still got a crap ton of progress that I still have to make. The next thing I learned was that I really love coaching, not loved, but I really love coaching. I enjoy the hell out of coaching. The people that I have coached, I enjoy meeting them, getting to know them, and celebrating their wins, crying with them on their defeats, and just everything about that. I love coaching. There was I guess 6, maybe 8 months ago, actually, without even realizing it, did an exercise on myself where I was kind of getting really frustrated with how things in the business were not going anywhere. And so I was like, all right, so what happens if I just scrub my hands of the relaxed male and just said, screw it. I'm just going to stay sitting in the truck and I'm just going to drive until I can't drive no more. And the sense of fear, dread, sorrow that I came up that formed because I actually took the time to think that and to take the time to sense those emotions and let those emotions spill gave me very clear indication that no, coaching is where I'm supposed to be. Coaching is where I need to be. This is what my calling is. I like coaching so much that I can't stand not doing it. I've been doing it pretty much in some form, fashion or another, and not even realizing it for a good chunk of my life. Coaching is what I like to do. Coaching and being able to help people to change their views of the world is something that the world needs. And this is what God sat me down for. Kind of touched on it before, but I've let my schedule get so far out of hand. I've not been able to get I get podcasts done, but some weeks that's all I get done. And so I'm going to have to start making some changes to myself and changes to what my schedule are to get, to be able to get my schedule under control. Next one is kids are just flat out amazing. I've been able to the past 100 episodes. I have sat down, gone to like the park when the kids are all playing and watched the kids just interact and just watch boys be boys and being the wild heathens that they are is just an amazing thing. And watching the girls, how they interact with each other, and then watching how the girls and the boys interact with each other, and then watching, as those kids grow up and interact with each other as they're getting older, the whole means of growing up is simply an amazing and awe-inspiring process. And then to watch those kids as they step out into the real world themselves, and you see the fear and the angst and the anxiety in parents as those kids step out into the real world and hope that and their parents hope that the world doesn't eat them whole and spit them out in a snarled mess. And sometimes it does, but if those kids can get back up and do it again, you've got your winner. You've taken care of those kids properly. And those boys are still willing to take on the world as that wild heathen that they were. It's such a beautiful thing. And I just enjoy watching kids gotten around where I just find kids just absolutely amazing. Next one is the red pill and the men pill, and the men going their own way movement is such a victim mindset. These guys don't have a freaking clue. They have just given up, and that is the worst form of failure. They got handed a bad deal, but because they are not willing to let go of their nice guy way, screw those women. I'm going on my own way. I am not about to try to get married again. We're going to have a rash of men dying at a insanely early age because they did not want to be married. They said, screw that, screw their own health, screw their own mental sanity. And just, they're going to go on their own way. It's a sad state of affairs. But, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. I'm going to try to convince them that, hey, that's not the right direction. And the only way I can do that is through my own mission of the relaxed male. Another thing that I learned, thanks to the guys over at Operation Tears of the 22, is that our vets need help. We lose 22 vets a day every year. That's 8,000 vets that die at their own hands. And that is 8,000 vets, way too many. There are reasons as to why. Yeah, and you talk to somebody and they will all come up with their own reason as to why we have such a problem with those vets. It's PTSD. It's we train them to be killers, but we don't train them to be civilians. We teach them to disconnect from their emotions, and so they never know how to connect. War is going through war, not going through war, peacetime. A lot of vets have a lot of problems, and it's an issue that needs to be addressed. And I'm glad to be tied in with the guys at Operation Tears of the 22. They are doing they're still brand spanking new, but they are catching attention of a lot of people really fast, really quick. It's amazing to watch these guys take off. It's just how they do it, I don't know, but God has definitely have blessed them with with a mission, and they are running with it. So if you have a chance, go to tearsof22.com and seek them out, learn more about them. There's going to be places for you to be able to donate here pretty soon as they get their 501c3 designation. Another thing I learned is consistency is the key. The website, the website itself, the viewers have been going up, and once my schedule got completely out of whack and I wasn't able to write to the write weekly to the blog and get the podcast out and do the Monday video, you saw I was getting up to where I was hitting about 65, 75 views a day, and now it's down to about 40. Consistency needs to stay there. Now the podcast is still going, and the podcast is growing. It's not, it's not meteoric. It's no hockey stick lift off, but it's still up and to the right every month. It's a little more up and a little more right. There's a couple places where I screwed up on stuff, and so it dropped down a little bit. But the next month, you saw that it was still in that general trajectory of up and to the right. That is because of consistency. You have to be consistent. You have to be consistent in everything. If you're going to be consistent with trying to improve the relationship with your wife, you have to stay consistent with improving the relationships with your wife. If you're going to improve yourself, you have to make sure that and get yourself into shape. You need to be doing exercises, working on your body, and eating right in a consistent manner. You have to do things with consistency. Do the action, rinse, repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat over and over and over again. And you think, oh my God, we're not going to make it. And things are going to go horrible. And guess what? You're going to look in the mirror and go, holy crap, who's that dude? And find out that you look a heck of a lot better. You got a lot more muscle tone. Your shoulders are a little broader. You're carrying yourself a little taller. Damn, dude, you look good. That's because consistency is the key. It's not getting instant results. It is keeping at it when you don't see the results the following day. Just keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. And then before you know it, all of a sudden you've reached your goal, and you've passed your goal, and you've gone 3 miles down further past your goal before you even realized, oh, wait a minute, that's where I needed to be back there. Well, let's keep going then. Consistency. Be consistent. That builds your integrity. When you are consistent, if you're consistently being able to provide the same philosophies to your life, that's a good thing. You're developing the integrity. To have integrity, you have to have consistency. Have a vision. Know what you're wanting to do with yourself. If you don't know, take the time, sit down, figure out what it is you want to do with yourself. Get that vision seated firmly in the front of your mind, so that as you are going out and you're doing what you want to do, you're going to make sure that you're heading towards that direction. Are you getting closer to what your ultimate goal is? My ultimate goal is owning some land in Texas and having a great place where I can enjoy my life and be able to have men over and have events and things like that. But to be able to do that, I have to have that vision. What does it look like? And I've got that. The second to last, number 20, the 20th item that I learned is you can love anybody you choose to. There are so many people that typically I would have just barely seen. But in the past couple of years, I do more than just see them. I actually look at them and I see the beauty of humanity that is shining through them. You see the guy on the forklift, and he may look a little rough, but he's just a human making his way through life. He is just doing what he has to do to be able to make it through the day. And there is absolutely something beautiful in that struggle. The struggle has beauty in it. The work that a man does has immense beauty in it. Men who are able to smile, men who are able to cry, men who can't help but cry, men who feel that they are beaten. There's still beauty in that. You can choose to love anybody. You can choose not to love anybody. It doesn't matter. It's completely upon your shoulders. You can choose to love your enemies if you want. And that's a tough one to do. I'm not there yet, but I'm trying. But if you can take the time and you can look at people and look at them in the eye as they're going through their day, you will actually see those little sparks of beauty of humanity as they are trying. That homeless guy that's on the corner of the street, he's still a human. He is doing what he can to just find something to eat. Something to soothe the turmoil of his life. You can either see that as something of beautiful beauty, or you can see that as something to pity. Don't pity it. I think what he's doing is beautiful. And because of that, I have no problem sharing my food with him. Going, hey man, here, all I've got is a bologna sandwich here. I went ahead and made one for you. I hope you enjoy. I hope you can apply that, give that to a friend if you don't want it, Being able to reach out and touch that human for being a human. That's one of the great things that you can witness in your own heart. And it's amazing, really. The 21st thing is that there is beauty everywhere. Yeah, it went mushy in a big hurry there, didn't it? But there is, from the spider web that's hanging in front of my window to the struggle of everyday life, to the way the grass moves in the wind. There's beauty if you take time to look at it. But that's the trick, isn't it? It's to take the time to actually look. So many times we have the river of life carry us downstream, and before we know it, 10 years have passed. And you're going, holy crow, my son was just 13 just yesterday. Now he's 23. He's left the house. Where did that time go? I was going to do stuff with him and I never did. Well, take the time to observe the beauty around you and you will see opportunities to enjoy life. And so that's the 21st item, is that there's beauty everywhere. And with that, guys, I want to go ahead and I'm going to let you go. I thank you very much for listening. That was the 21 items that I have learned in the past 100 episodes. And because this is the 100th episode, know that next week will be the 101st, and things will be going back to what we normally talk about. I am going to be trying to expand some of the content of the show just a hair bit, see what else I can do, see if I can start trying to mix stuff up, because right now it's just kind of me sitting there talking, and all right. Yeah. I'm throwing out some information, but is it being helpful? Well, I hope it is. And if it is being helpful, I appreciate it. If you found this podcast to be of use, of value, just ask that you share it out. Share it out on your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever it is that you are on. You can share this out. I've got link buttons on each podcast or each episode where you can actually just click on it and share it out to those places. Share it with the rest of the guys in your community. That way they see that, hey, there is this show called The Relaxed Male, and it's helping guys to realize that the nice guy is not helping you. It's not helping you to become relaxed. If you want to be relaxed, you're going to have to become a real man, and to be able to be the real man, and you start taking the initiative to do those things that you find scary, gives you those times to where you can actually kick back, relax, and enjoy life. And that's what the Relaxed Male is all about. We want to enjoy life and look back and see how successful we were, and we've made those goals, and we've made the successes that we've made, and we are such a greater and wonderful men because of that. So guys, with that, I'm going to let you go. Thank you again for listening. We'll talk to you next week. Until then, bye.